Okay, y'all, you wanted a video concerning how to do the diagonal lace throw. This is the blanket that I have started. I haven't finished this yet, so I don't have a finished product to show you, but this is the design we're looking at, okay? Not going to do the whole blanket. I'm going to show you how to do the diagonal pattern, and we'll go over the pattern itself. So if you have the pattern handy, you might want it to follow it, because I am going to try and incorporate that in the written pattern. I have never shot a video before. New camera, new tripod, everything's brand new to me, so hopefully I can accomplish this in a video where you guys are going to be able to comprehend at least what is happening. It's a very simple pattern. It's just E-wrap and some purling for the edges, and then a yarn over, which I will explain in the video on how to do that, which is super easy, guys. Don't be intimidated. All right, so a couple things before I get started, just FYI. I have a little pug running around, so if you hear me yelling at Molly, it's because she's in my feet and getting in my way. So another thing is I don't ever loom sitting at a table or anything, so it's kind of awkward for me, and it's brand new, so please excuse my clumsiness. Also, if you hear a phone ring, it means I'm going to pause the video because work is calling and one of my employees needs to talk to me. So that set aside, I think we're ready to get started. Again, it's the diagonal grace throw is what I called it. May change the name in the future, I don't know, I just kind of liked it. Because I think it's a real graceful pattern, and it's pretty. Anyways, all right, so let's see if I can get this back into focus for you guys. This is the loom that I'm actually going to be working on. What I did was just started an easy one to show you guys on. I only cast it on a certain number, and I'll explain that in a minute how we do that. But just figured it would be easier to show you on the straight loom than trying to show you on the super Afghan loom. Alright. One thing that is super nice about this pattern is that it can be customized and used on almost any loom. And it can be used for any type of pattern. You can use it with, I used it on the poncho I had posted. That was done with a thin yarn, a large gauge, give a totally different look. I've done it on, I tested it on a large gauge loom with some heavy weight, I think it was 6 weight yarn, and it worked out there too. Heavier blanket, turns out a little bit different looking, not as neat, and, but it still works. Give it a try. Use it for whatever you want. You can use it on anything. I will show some tricks at the end of the video in case you've casted on the wrong number of pegs like I did with my throw. That's why it took me so long to write the pattern, because I had to figure out exactly the formula for how many pegs to cast on. I thought I had it figured out when I started my throw, and I was off. But that's okay, I figured out how to adjust for it. It doesn't mean you have to pull it all apart and recast. You can actually adjust it. No big deal. Alright, so let's see if I can bring this into focus for you. Well, that ain't working right now. I had it in focus earlier. Let's see. There we go. So it's the diagonal great lace throw is the pattern. We'll go over a few of the details here. You'll notice that it is worked in the flat. I haven't tried the round, but I might be able to in the future and see if we can come up with the adjusted pattern for doing it in the round. That's the picture of the throw I'm started. We've all seen that on the group page. Okay, supplies. So I wrote it up for 4 or larger. I haven't tried 3 mandolin yet, but I'm sure it would work. Like I said, you just might get a little bit more lacy effect, a little bit looser effect, but it should still work. I'm using, I use the super Afghan loom for the throw itself, but like I say, you can adjust it and use just about any loom you want. Row counter is optional. I don't have mine sitting here. Meant to grab it, but I didn't, but that's okay. I'll be showing a fast way to do this stitch after I show you how to do the actual pattern. And it actually made it where I don't even need the row counter, so that was kind of nice. Stitches used are E-wrap and purl. Okay, pattern notes. When I say knit, it means just to E-wrap it and knit it over. A yarn over, which we will go over in detail in the video, is you move the stitch from the next peg that you're going to work to the peg in front, and the next peg in line in the direction you're going. Okay, and then you're going to yarn that yarn over the empty peg, not do anything with it, just place the yarn in front of it, and then you're going to E-wrap and knit off both those loops on the next peg. Okay, and I showed you a couple pictures in the pattern that kind of show you what you need to do. Okay. All right. The repeat in the pattern is yarn over knit 5. So that's once you do your first set in the instructions, when it says yarn over knit 5, repeat until you get to the almost the end of the loom. I'll explain that, but basically that's just the pattern that you're going to repeat, repeat. Slit means just those are the end pegs. The first peg, do nothing like Brandy showed you in her video. You're going to do nothing with that peg on your start of your row. Just gives you the nice clean edge. What did I say here? When getting to the end of the row, when I say repeat to the last, okay, we just explained that. I will explain more in a minute. Okay, now for the part where it tells you how many pegs to cast on. What you need to do is, the stitch is the diagonal part, the middle part of this pattern, not the edge, not counting the edge, but the middle part of it, this diagonal part. What that is that is done in multiples of 6 and then add 5. Okay, so that will give you your diagonal part. And then your edges, which is your garter stitch, because this stitch curls pretty bad. So you're definitely going to want to do your garter border. So once you've done your multiples of 6 and you've added 5, then however small or however wide you want your border, you're going to add the total number of pegs that you would use for that border and cast those on in addition, okay? So like I say in the example here, I cast on 195, so I did 6, my daughter, sorry about that. I cast it on 195 pegs. How I came up with that number is I did 30 multiples of 6, which equaled the 180, 5 for the remainder of that diagonal pattern, and then I wanted 5 pegs on each end for my garter, so that was a total of 10 pegs. So that got me my total of 195. So if you use this pattern, you can do it any way you want. You can do like I did, I'll show you on this one. I did 6 sequences of 6, added 5, and then added 10. So I cast it on 51 pegs, okay? Now the garter border, that's for the top. I believe you guys all know how to do that, but on my sample here that I've started, you'll see I didn't do it because I love the garter stitch and how it looks and everything else, but honestly, I was lazy and I didn't do it, so you can see how it's curling, and I just don't really enjoy it. So, but if you need help with the garter border, main thing is knowing how to purl. I will try and post a link in the comments so you guys can link to a video that shows you how to purl, okay? All right, so basically we are going to start with row 1 E-wrap, slip 1 and E-wrap, okay? And then we'll move on to row 2. Okay, so here is the loom that I'm going to use. It's my all-in-one. Frankly, I haven't ever used it. I haven't had it that long. I haven't made anything on it yet. But I think it was just something easy to set up, and with the number of stitches, I wanted to at least have enough on here so you get a good idea of the pattern. Okay, one of the things excuse me, sorry, the pattern called for was that you set your marker on your 6th pegs and your 6th peg from the end, okay? You'll also see that I have 2 additional. That's because I like to mark my end pegs, because if I don't, I end up adding on stitches and then I have this really wonky looking blanket, so not cool. So I always just mark my end ones. It's just a personal thing. You don't have to do that. I do recommend that you mark your 6th peg in on each end, because otherwise you might forget when you're supposed to purl and where your diagonal. So everything on your diagonal is from the 6th to the 6th, the middle to the middle, okay? All right, so row 1. And like I say, I apologize. I haven't ever done something like this, so it's a little bit, we'll just see. Hopefully it'll turn out where you can see what I'm doing and get the hang of it. This yarn I'm using is just some yarn, Red Heart yarn that my mom gave me scraps of. It's probably 30 years old, so who knows? But I just wanted to use some scraps since I'm not going to be keeping this on here. Okay, so we're going to slip the first one. That's this one right here. We're going to slip that first one. All right, and then we're just going to E-wrap all of these pegs and knit. Okay, wasn't sure why the video automatically stopped recording, but it did, so let's just keep going. All right, so I'm going to knit all those over real quick. And sorry, like I say, it's kind of awkward. I've never worked this way before, so it might take me a little bit longer to do things than I normally would. Don't miss wrapping one like I just almost did. I'm just going to wrap all those. I usually will wrap all the way in, and I'll show you on the quick stitch. When we do that, you'll actually wrap all the way to the end, but we'll just work these real quick. You know, some people like to lift them over this way. Some people like to grab them and lurk them over this way. Doesn't matter. Whatever's your preference. I do like to push them down as I go. Yes, I usually use a yarn guard. It's currently on the actual throw that I'm making, and I had one made out of a pin barrel, but I lost it. But you can use a pin, a straw. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, whatever you like. It does make doing the E-wrap, especially like on the Super Afghan loom where you have tons of pegs. It really makes it a lot quicker and a lot easier to E-wrap all those pegs. I forgot to explain to you how I got to the number of pegs that I casted on for this. So I will explain that here as soon as I get to the end of this row. So right now we're just doing row 1, which was E-wrapping. So that's all we're doing. Oh, sorry, dogs. Molly is knocking the camera around. I apologize. Like I said, kind of awkward for me, but I'm working on it, guys. The extra yarn I have pulled out is because I actually did this row once and started a video, and my camera died last night. So I had to undo that row this morning. So I ended up having all this extra. I have already loomed on the first 12 rows, just because you'll be able to see the pattern better when we get done with these 12 rows. I can show you. I'll have something to show you. Otherwise, you'd end up with this little bit that I just showed you a few minutes ago. It's kind of hard to see. So we're just going to E-wrap. See, all the way to the end. E-wrap. You like my stitch markers? Those were for my yarn swap buddy, Jessica King. Thank you. I love them. So pretty. Okay. I hope that's not out of focus, guys. Anyway, so that is all of the E-wrap rope. Now, let me explain to you how I came up with 51 pegs. So, like we said, it was sequences of 6. So I did 6 times, which then got me down to my 36. And then it said add 5. Well, then that would bring me to my 41 pegs, okay? That would bring me down to here to 41. That's from all the way from this end here, all the way down to here. And that got me my 40. Actually, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Anyway, down to here. Sorry. And then I needed to add 10 because I wanted 5 stitches each for my garter border. Okay, so that's the difference. So it was just 6 times 6 is 36 plus 5 was 41. And then I added my garter border stitches, which was 5 on each end. 5 on each end. And that gave me my 51. Make sense? I hope so. Have any questions? Don't. Just ask. No problem. All right, you can comment or you can do what you like. So, row 2 on the, I'm gonna try and use my phone again. Sorry, I know it's not the best, but it's the best I could do. I was having problems. Like I said, new camera, I can't figure out how to hook it up to a remote viewing system, and that's what I really wanted to do. And anyways, I spent hours trying to figure this out. So anyways, row 2 is slip 1, purl 4. Okay, that's our garter edge. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're gonna slip, see, we're gonna slip this first one, and now we're gonna purl these first 4, okay? Sorry, I'm trying to keep my hands out of the way so you guys can see what I'm doing. So purl, for those just don't know, you place your yarn below the stitch. I can probably zoom that in a little bit. I'll try. Sorry if it gets out of focus. So you're going to put that yarn right below it. Okay. And then pull that out. And you're going to pull that bottom yarn up through it. Take it completely off and put your new loop back on and pull it tight. That's all there is to it. So we've done 1, 2, and it said 4, so we need 2 more. Okay, so now we've got our garter edge. So the next thing it says to do is knit 4. All right, that's simple enough. You guys know how to E-wrap. That's 1, 2, 3. I like to wrap all 4 and then knit them off. And if you noticed, it will always start on your marked peg, okay? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Now for the part that everybody's, how do you do this yarn over? Because the next part of it, it says yarn over and knit 5 pegs. And this is our repeat, okay? The one thing it clarifies is that the peg that's going to have the 2 stitches on it is included in that 5. So don't knit that one over and then count 5, because then you'll be off. So you're going to yarn over and knit off the one with 2 pegs. Okay, so how do we do that? So this is where we left off, see? This is where we left off. So our next peg is going to be this one right here. Okay, peg left off on. Peg left off on. Next peg. all we're going to do is lift that peg off and put it over there. Simple enough. Now you got a peg with 2 loops on it. Okay? So then we're gonna make sure you keep your yarn behind it. You don't want to bring this one in front and then E-wrap. It's wrong. Make sure keep your yarn in the direction you're going. You're just gonna lay that right across the front of that empty peg. Whoop. And you're gonna E-wrap that one. Okay? This is E-wrap and knit over 5. So I like to, again, to make it easier, I'm gonna zoom this back out a little bit. I'm going to E-wrap all 5 of mine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Because then I know I've E-wrapped my 5, the next one's gonna be my yarn over. Okay? I won't lose count that way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? Again, peg we left off on, peg we left off on, this one right here, and then pick up the next peg, bring it over, and just place it right on top of that next peg. Now we have an empty peg and a peg with 2 loops on it. Okay? Place that yarn right in front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? And we're going to knit all those over. Both loops. See? Both loops. See, I find it easier. You can try that way, but I find it easier on these to go from the bottom, because then I can only use my peg for leverage. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Again, we're on a yarn over, knit 5. We're in that repeat process. Remember, yarn over, knit 5 until we get down there. 1, yarn over, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Knit them over. Yes, I'm holding the loom kind of weird because, like I said, I've never done it this way. I always work on my lap. It's a couch thing for me. Anyways, okay. So we're still on the yarn over because it says we're going to yarn over until we have, oops, we're going to do that repeat process until we have 6 pegs to our marker down here, okay? So we're going to loom until we get down to where we have 6 pegs, okay? I should say 7 pegs, and then yarn over and knit 6. So I apologize. We're going to do this until we have 7 pegs left. So now we're on your yarn over here again. Okay, I'm going to move this a little closer for you guys. See if you can move this a little closer. See, watch. This is the peg that we left off on. Yarn that over, pull it up, place it. Oops, see, I dropped it. That happens. No big deal, just pick it back up, place it on your peg. Okay? Yarn it over, E-wrap 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Knit them all over, including both loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, zoom it back out where you guys can see where we're at. We're getting there. And you can always double check where you're at. See, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that means I still have one more 5 yarn over to do. One more 5 yarn over to do. So here we go. Let's do it. Let's move that one over. Place yarn in front, not behind. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 2, 3. Oh, see, I only wrapped 4. I gotta wrap 5. Yeah, I can always count from this peg too. You can always go back and see that this is your yarn over peg. Sorry if that's a little out of focus. I'll try to fix it. Your yarn over peg right here, you can always count and just start counting the next peg. 1, 2, 3, 4. And see, I noticed I still have one more to go. Okay. Now it says until we have 7 pegs, so that's what we have left now. See? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And there's my little yarn. So, see? 7. All right. So now our directions say we're going to yarn over and knit the next 6. So it's just still the same thing that we were doing. We're going to pick up that one, the next peg to the yarn where we left off, yarn it over, bring your yarn in front, that's the actual yarn over, okay? I'm going to wrap 6 because that's what it said to do. We're going to knit over 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and see, you should land right on your marker. Sorry if my fingers get out of the way, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And yes, I actually do count to myself when I'm doing this. So. All right, so now it says we need to purl 4 and knit 1. And this is going to be our garter edge, all right? So we're going to purl these 4. Remember, yarn below, pull it up through, take it off, put it back, put the new loop back on the peg, pull it tight. That's a purl. Don't let it be intimidating. All right, yarn below, kind of pull that loop out and then just grab your yarn and pull it up. Take it off and put it back on. That's 2, 3. Oh, see, I undid it. So, you know, that happens. I miss putting it back on. So all I need to do is see. That's kind of fluid. All right, see my loop sitting there? See the loop I dropped right there? Just go down there, grab that little thing and pull it right back on. I'm really good at doing that when I'm purling. Another reason the garter stitches, not my best friend. So anyway, so let's do that again. Purl it out, pull the new yarn through, pull it off, and put it back on the new peg and pull it tight. So that's 3, 4, and then it said knit 1. So we're going to do the turn like Brandy showed in her video, and we're going to just do that half wrap going back so we get the yarn in the right direction and knit that over. All right, so that's row 2, guys. If you're actually doing this as a larger project, go ahead and pause your video and then come back once you finish that second row, okay? Okay guys, now we're on the 3rd row, which is slip 1 and knit the remainder. So remember, your in peg here, we're just slipping it, and we're just going to E-wrap and knit all the rest over. So go ahead and do that, and we'll meet you at the other end, okay? So now we are on row 4, which is slip 1, purl 4, knit 5, yarn over, knit 5, repeat to the marker. Okay, so first we are going to slip 1, which is going to be the in peg there, and we're going to knit 4, or purl 4, I'm sorry, slip 1, purl 4. So 1, 2, 3, 3, and 4. Okay. Now it says that we are going to knit 5. So let's knit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then it says yarn over and knit 5. So we're going to yarn over, which is, remember, pick up this one, put it on the next, the direction you're going, pick up your yarn, put it in front, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Knit both those loops over. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yarn over. Knit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Hope you guys can see that because my battery had died, and so I had to recharge and start over for this row, so hopefully you can see it. And 4 and 5. Yarn over. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. One, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Yarn over. Wrap 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Knit over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yarn over. Empty bag front. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Knit over. Yarn over. This is the last one for me. Yarn over, knit 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So see, for row, I'll end exactly on that end peg. Okay? And now we're going to purl 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and knit 1, which is our half wrap going back the other way like we want to, okay? Whew. Okay, row 5. Row 5, remember, is just E-wrapping, slipping the first one, slipping this one here, and we're going to E-wrap all the way down again. Okay, look, I slipped a peg. I need to drop the stitch. Actually, that one goes on the bottom because that's the one I actually purled up through it. That's the one I dropped. So let's purl that back through. And then it gets a little tight when I drop them like that and they come off. But let me get it. Okay, back. Now we're back. And we're going to E-wrap all the way to the end and knit them off. We'll see you at the other end, and because I will zippy this again, and we'll start on row 6. Okay, now you're back. Pushing on my knitting down, we're ready to go again. We're going to be starting row 6, and row 6 is row 6, slip 1, purl 4, and then knit stick 6. So we're going to slip our first one, purl 4 again. This is, remember, this is our garter edge, so we're going to purl these 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, now it says knit 6, so let's knit over 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we're ready for our yarn over again. Yarn over 5. It says yarn over, knit 5. So yarn over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yarn over. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, yarn over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, yarn over. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yarn over. Move that over to the next peg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we're ready to yarn over again. Move that over to the peg so we have that empty peg to yarn over. Yarn over. 1, 2, 3. Sorry. Empty peg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. going to yarn over again. Do 5. Now though, it's the end of the row. You can see my marked peg there. So it says yarn over and knit 4. So if you look, we got our yarn over and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Always ending on this marked peg. Then it says purl 4. That's 4. And knit 1, which is our half stitch, turning the yarn back. Remember that. Okay. Row 7 is an E-wrap again. Remember, slipping the first one, E-wrapping all the way back. We'll zip through it again, so I will meet you at the other end. Okay, welcome back. We are going to do row 7 now. Which rows? I mean 8. I'm sorry, that was the knit was the E-wrap all the way down was 7. Now we're going to do 8, which is slip 1, purl 4, and then knit the first peg and start our yarn over 5 repeat. Okay, so let's purl 4 for our garter edge. This is row 8, guys, in case I confused you. 3. Okay, now we're going to knit 1. Oh, sorry. See, I almost messed up myself. So that was supposed to be a knit 1. We're going to E-wrap the 1, knit it over. Okay. Now we start our yarn over 5. Move the peg over, put it in front. Wrap 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Knit them off. I'm going to do this again and again, just like we did earlier. So I may zip through this part again until we get down to the very end, okay? And I'll show you the last few. Okay, welcome back. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 left. 10 left. Okay. So I'm on my yarn over, knit 5. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Which leaves me with my 4 pegs, but I got a yarn over, remember? So that will make the knit 3. That's the very end of the row on this pattern. So yarn over, and then 1, 2, 3. And then purl 4. And do our half wrap for our turn back, which is our knit 1 on the end. Okay, so now we're on 9. We've almost done the whole 12. It goes actually really fast, guys, once you get the hang of it. After we finish these 12, I'll show you the quick way of actually doing it. Kind of like the quick garter that was shown. All right, so row 9 is just your E-wrap back. I'll meet you at the other end. Okay, welcome back. We're ready to start row 10. which is slip 1, purl 4, knit 2, and then we start our yarn over 5 repeat. And at the end we'll be yarning over and knitting 2. Okay. All right, let's go. So it was purl 4 first for our garter edge. Let's not forget about that. Slip in that first peg. Okay, now it said knit 2, so we're going to knit our 2, 1, 2. And now we're ready to start our yarn over 5 repeat. Yarn over, to move, I always think of it as move my yarn over and then place the actual, what they would actually call the yarn over the front of the peg. And wrap 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Both loops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think you guys all understand that part. I'm gonna zip through this and you can meet me at the other end because and you could pause your video if you'd like, because I know some of you will be doing many more pegs than this, so that's fine. Pause it and come back when you're ready, all right? Okay, welcome back. As you'll see, I've just finished all my yarn over 5s for the middle part. I'm down to my last 3 pegs. And it says yarn over and knit 2, so that's why I have 3 pegs left, because remember we have to have an empty peg. So we need to pick that one up. One right after our working yarn. One there. Yarn it over. 1, 2. Okay. Knit those off. Then we got, it says purl 4 and knit 1. So we're going to purl the 4 for our garter border again. Try not to split your yarn the way I just did. I normally would undo it and fix it, but since this is just a test piece, I'm not going to worry about it. Let's purl 4, knit the 1 to turn back. Okay. All right. Row 11. Woo! We're going to E-wrap again all the way to the end, so I'll see you at the other end. Remember just to slip that first peg, okay? Okay, welcome back. We're ready for row 12, the last of the stitch pattern. So you can see here, see how it's all just going in a diagonal there? If one of them is off, it's because you've not wrapped 5 in between somewhere and made an error. So you'll have to frog back and find that error and recount. Really, honestly, I haven't really had to do that. I've been lucky. I only had to do it once, and it was just on a very small part, so I caught it very early. So keep an eye on it. You'll notice when you're making it. I'll show you some tips after we finish this row 12, including what I call the fast garter, fast knit for it. Okay. Let's see again. It's just. Let's make sure I'm trying to stay in focus. I'm really sorry. Like I say, I've never done this before, so if it goes in and out of focus, I apologize. Hopefully it'll be where you can at least see it. Okay, so row 12. Row 12. Slip 1, purl 4, knit 3. And then we start our yarn over, knit 5, repeat, and then also the very last of it is yarn over and knit 1. And then do our purls. So let's skip our first peg, slip it, Let's do our 4 pearls. Two, 3, and 4. Now it says knit 3, 1, 2, 3. Remember, starting with your marker. And we start our yarn over 5 repeat. So yarn over, wrap 5, 1, 2, 3, oops. I don't know if I just said knit wrap 3, but it's wrap 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, okay, we were doing so good. Well, for one, I didn't have my yarn over in the front, but I'll show you in case you do that. It's super easy to fix. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you'll notice I have my yarn in the back. I'll show you how to, all you're going to do is pick it up once you knit these 5 off and fix it. So you'll see that top stitch there hanging out. That long one there. Just, it might be a little tight, but it'll loosen up. Just pull it over to the front. There you go. All fixed. Okay. I'll meet you at the end. We're doing our yarn over, knit 5 until we're down to 2 pegs. Okay? Okay, welcome back, guys. I am on my last yarn over knit 5. When I talk about my last, I'm always talking about the points in between my 2 markers, okay? Because we're always going to have the pearls and the knit at the ends in the beginning, because those are our borders. So when I talk about knit till the last 2 pegs, I'm talking about the 2 pegs, counting your marker, so this one and this one. So that's what I'm talking about. So yarn over, knit 5. So yarn over, 1, 2, 3, 4. And see, I've made an error somewhere. So I'm going to pause it for a second. I am going to go back. I'm going to find it and correct it, and I'll meet you right back here. I just wanted to clarify. See how when I yarned over and then I went to knit my 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I should have had 2 pegs here. I shouldn't be knitting this one. So there's an error in here somewhere, because my last is to yarn it over and then knit this one off. So I automatically know, because my end of my count on my pattern, the row, isn't coming out correct. So that's how I know I need to go back. So I will return in just a minute and we'll finish off this last row. So I thought I'd show you this too. You can see how my row is here, and then all of a sudden it skips away over here. That's where I knitted on too many pegs and got my yarn over in the wrong spot. So we may have to redo, I have to redo row 12 because it was actually made in the very beginning. So I thought I would show you this real quick. This is where I'm going backwards, and I'm trying to correct where I had the mistake, which is still back a little ways, but I'll set this back on here for you can see this. So if you have to do this, you got to remember you have this peg, you're going to have pegs that actually have 2 of them on there. So when you're pulling it off, what I like to do is, I hope you can see this, is I like to grab them both, pull the yarn out, set the first one there, so you have on the bottom, it goes on this peg. Keep a hold of that one and then just slide it onto that peg. So that's kind of important to know if you have to frog back a little bit to correct a mistake. All right, we'll see you back here in a minute. Okay, we are back. Back from where we left off and where I had my mistake. I'm on my last yarn over knit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Leaves me 2 pegs here. Because remember, it's going to be a yarn over and knit 1 for the end. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to pull that one off, put it right here, yarn over, and knit 1. Okay, now we're going to do our 4 pearls. I apologize for all the clanking and stuff. Like I said, I am not used to having to work on a table, and I'm working in a very awkward position because like I'm not a videotaper and I don't know how to get it over my shoulder and do all those kinds of good things, and I don't have one of those cell phone holder things that I can put my cell phone in and make it easier on me to do this. I have to use my camera, so kind of goofy. Anyway, so here we go. Okay, so that was our 12 rows, and so you're just going to repeat that all the way until you have the desired length you want, and then you're going to add your garter border, which is the 5 rows of knit and purl alternating. Okay, so now I want to take the time and I want to show you a little trick, and hopefully it will show up on the camera. And if this confuses you, just don't do it, okay? But if you get it, it will make your knitting quite a bit quicker, and I also found that it helps me not make the errors like I had just made. So I hope it helps you out. So here you go. First thing you're going to do is you're going to E-wrap the whole loom from one end to the other end, okay? You're going to slip your first peg up always, you know, but you're going to knit from here and go all the way down. You're going to here. We're not going to knit them over. We're just going to E-wrap them all the way down, and I'm going to E-wrap this one over just to hold everything in place, okay? And then I'll meet you back here, right here at this peg once you have them all E-wrapped. Don't knit over yet, okay? Because this is the trick part. See you back in a minute. Okay guys, meeting you back here. So I'm back down here. I'm going to half wrap this end one, and I'm going to knit it over to hold everything in place. So for you that know the quick garter, this is similar. In fact, for the 4 pegs right here that we're going to do right now, that it is the same. So remember, we're back on row 1 of our diagonal pattern. So we're going to be, after we do our purl 4, we're going to be knitting 4 and then yarning over and doing our repeat 5, okay? So let's knit over these 4, because those are our purl stitches, right? So let's just knit those 4 over. You can do them one at a time if you want to. It's up to you. Let's purl those. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Now, this quick thing, you won't notice it until you start row 2 if you're just beginning it, your blanket. But after you've done your first row 2 of this and then come back to do row 4, all of a sudden you'll be all set up and you'll be just be going like, oh wow, this is cool. And then from then on until you're done. So if you will look, it says knit 4, right? Well, if you look, what is on knit 4? Knit 4 is actually my yarned over peg. See how it's not wrapped all the way around like the other ones? The other one's wrapped all the way around. This one is my, let's see if I can show it to you. I'm not sure if I can zoom this in and keep you in focus, but we will try. See how this is your yarned over one? Cool, huh? So, yeah, watch, knit 4. Knit 4. 1, because we're on row 1, which was knit 4. 1, 2, 3, and then your yarn over was knit 4, okay? So let's knit those 4 off. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now it was yarn over and knit 5. Well, yarn over is 1 peg and knit 5, so that'd be 6 pegs total, right, that we need to get the E-wraps off of. So I'm gonna zoom this back out a little bit. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, sorry, I didn't mean, no, you couldn't see it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, if we look at 6 peg again, and I hope you can see it. See how it just kind of curls around? Kind of curls around the peg. It doesn't wrap all the way around like the other ones. It just curls around it. That 6th peg. So this is what makes it so quick and you can stay on track. Because now we're gonna knit over 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Our pattern is yarn over 5, right? Yarn over. And do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again, if you look, it's going to be the 6th peg again. That's going to be that yarn over, because our yarn over is always going to be 1 step ahead. That's how we get that diagonal pattern. So if we knit off 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and our yarn over 6, we're going to do our yarn over 5, because remember we're doing 2 rows at once. So that was 1 and 2. So this is row 2 I'm working on right now, which is knit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So again, okay, I'm working row 1, which is, but I'm going to just do it in 6s. So row 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and my yarn over should always be number 6. 6. Woohoo! Yarn it over. That leaves me 5 pegs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Again, we're working the row 1, which is the E-wrap. We're going to do it in sets of 6. This is row 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Oops. And then I'm going to move that over. Knit my 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. 6 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and again it should be my yarn over is the 6th one. 6. Bring it over. Knit off your 5. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, we're getting to the end. And remember, on row 1, it was knit, for your last set, it was knit 6. After you've done all your yarn over repeats 5, it was going to be yarn over knit 6. So that's what we should have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7. Perfect, because we're supposed to yarn over at 6. Yarn over and knit 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's the only time it might be a little off with your yarn over, is there. Is on this last set. But it works all the way down. So especially when you're doing a large blanket or something, it really, really works. So you just have to watch your end, but the rest of it, it will turn out and come in, should come in right on track. So 1, oh, we forgot. See, I almost forgot. I'm going to yarn over. Always remember that. Yarn over. Knit. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I'm not sure where it cut off down here, showing you the quick stitch. So I'm going to do a whole nother row of it for you. We're on row 4 though, because remember we knitted 2 at once. So I have E-wrapped from all the way from my end, slipping that first peg, E-wrapped and knitted over that peg, okay? So we're going to do our quick garter first for our edge, which is the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Purl those real quick. You can do them one at a time, it's okay. Okay, and so row 4 is knit 5, yarn over, and knit 5. So we're just going to, if you look, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it'll land right on my last time I yarned over. So let's knit those 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh man, I shouldn't be splitting this yarn this way. 4 and 5. So let's go ahead and knit those 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, next is yarn over knit 5. So that means we need 6 pegs, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lands me right on the last time that we yarned over. Not sure if you guys can see that. Can you see that? Right there? See that? Maybe not. Right there. See how it doesn't loop all the way around. It's just across the front. That's our yarn over from last time. So it's 6. So we're just going to knit over 6, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and our yarn over is 6, okay? And then we yarn that one over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is my row 4. It's okay if they don't both go over at the same time. You can pull it back down and pull it over. Okay, So I'm working 3 and 4 at the same time, so I'm gonna knit over 6. 1, 2, whoa, 3, 4, 5, and then yarned over from the last time. Was there 6? Yarn it over and knit 5. So I hope that isn't confusing to you guys. I hope you can see it. I'll get down here to the end and I'll show you how it works out at the end. Okay, knit over 6, guys. Back to where my working yarn was and knit over 5. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it lands on my yarn over, so I know I'm on track. 6. Back to my working yarn. Need to do my yarn over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yarn it over. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we're going to do the 6 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Back to my working yarn. Yarn it over. Knit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, should be yarn over knit 5 because that's what row 4 does. So let's do 6 pegs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See? Works out. Yarn it over. Okay guys, I'm going to do rows 5 and 6 because they work out exactly the same. 8 is different since it's a knit 1, remember, and yarn over it. So I'll meet you back here and I'll show you that quick knit on row 8. That's the only one that's going to be different. Alright, meet you back here in a minute. Okay, I finished up rows 5 and 6. Now we're on 7 and 8. I'm still on the quick thing. Wanted to show you how this works for this. So let's do the 4 real quick. 1, 2, 3, which is the 4 purl. Get some more yarn here. Okay, so it's knit 1, right? So we just want to knit 1. And now is yarn over knit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See, it still comes out. See, 6? So as long as you follow that pattern, as long as you do your start correct, Then you'll be able to knit 6, go back, do your yarn over, and knit 5, and do 2 rows at the same time. I hope that all makes sense to you. So again, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Always end on your little yarn over from the previous round. Go back to your working yarn, yarn it over, knit your 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Knit those off. So again, I'm working the 2 rows at once, so I'm going to do my 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yarn over. Oops. Knit my 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and my yarns get in the way. 5. Sorry, like I said, I'm not used to working this way. So I hope y'all get the hang of that, and I will pull out my other loom, the one I casted on the wrong number of pegs, and I will show you what happens. And it's okay. Like I said, you don't have to frog. You're just your end pattern on your on the pattern on each row. That's not all knit, but on your even rows, that these end pegs and how you finish it off, it's just gonna be different. That's all. And really, once you start doing it, you'll notice how you can correct it and just go with it, because it's still gonna turn out perfect. All right, see you in a few. So I am on row 8, which is supposed to be yarn over, knit 3 for the end. Ignore all the colorful rubber bands on here. The only one that matters is this one here. And actually this, I had set this up a little bit different than what I had in your guys' directions. So this is actually this is where my purl stitches start, and this is where my diagonal ends, is actually the one before. So in between this green one and this one. So here is the issue. I was supposed to be able to yarn over 3. Well, if you look, I'm at a yarn over right now, so I'm going to yarn over this one here. Okay. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I hope you guys can, oh, that's getting blurry on you. Okay, not good. Okay, patience. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, so I yarned over, and I'm going to knit my 5, okay? And I'm sorry, hard to see, I know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yarn that over. Yes, I split my yarn. Oh, I hope I don't do that too often. All right. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and you're going like, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to be able to yarn over and knit 3 off, but I'm only going to be able to yarn over and knit 1. Because see, remember, this is my last peg on this one. Okay, this one right here is my last peg. I'm sorry. So I'm going to yarn that over. Go with the flow is all you have to do. Is once you get where you can knit, can't do a yarn over, knit 5 anymore, then all you're going to do is do what you can. Get to your yarn over, your yarn over, and then knit 5, yarn it over, and then knit off whatever's left. And keep going like you normally would. It's okay. It will turn out perfectly fine. This African, this blanket that you guys have all liked and everything, it has that cast on air. But to look at the blanket when it's all done, you will not notice the difference. So let me see if I can get inside where that issue. See, well, this is the end that doesn't have the yarn over and doesn't have the stitch count right. Looks perfectly fine. Coming out perfect. because you just go with the flow. After you do a yarn over and you knit 5 and then you don't have enough pegs left to do whatever the stitch called for at the end of that row, don't worry about it. Just follow it. Just yarn over, knit off what's left. Okay? That's all you have to do. As long as you, at the end of your yarn over, knit 5, yarn over, and now I'm going to knit 2 instead of 3 on this one. Oh well, no big deal. And you'll find that after your first 12, if you write down what your, actually I only have knit 1 because that was my purl. Mine set up, this one set up different. But anyways, you will find if you did cast on the wrong amount and you did you're on your second row of the diagonal and you go, oh, well, I did the 4 at the beginning, but I'm not getting that yarn over and knit off 6 here at the end. No big deal. Do what it says and write it down, and then just write it down for the next 12 rows of what you're doing on those 6 even rows, and that'll be your pattern through the whole thing, and you'll turn out perfectly fine. All right. Sorry it was hard to see. I hope you guys enjoyed, and have a great one.